Hi there! Welcome back to our course. In the following two sections, we'll focus on what communication competence and intercultural communication competence respectively is. The concept of communication competence has been developed by scholars for decades, but there is still some disagreement about how best to measure communication competence. In this course, we would define competent communication according to American psychologist Brian Spitzberg, who defines it as interaction that is perceived as effective in fulfilling certain rewarding objectives, and is also appropriate to the context in which the interaction occurs. The keywords in the definition are appropriate and effective. Inappropriate actions cannot be effective, except that one party intentionally insults or irritates the other. Appropriate actions are not necessarily effective. For example, it is not appropriate to greet an American with the utterance of, "Where are you going?" The appropriate way is to say, "How are you?" But if the interlocutor utters, "How is you?" the interaction is not effective, even though it does not offend the recipient. The effectiveness presupposes grammatical correctness as well as the right use of rhetorical techniques. Competent interpersonal communication results in the appropriate actions of the communicators, which fit the expectations and demands of the situation, and effective behaviors which achieve desired personal outcomes. When interaction crosses cultures, it requires the communicators to have intercultural communication competence, or ICC for short. Then what does intercultural communication competence refer to? Similarly, scholars have not reached an agreement on how best to conceptualize or measure it. We would adopt Brian's model, which emphasizes the objectives of communication. There are 5 factors in the model, which are attitudes, knowledge, skills of interpreting and relating, skills of discovery and interaction, and critical cultural awareness. Attitudes are curiosity and openness, readiness to suspend disbelief about other cultures and belief about one's own. The first objective of this factor is willingness to seek out or take up opportunities to engage with otherness in a relationship of equality. This should be distinguished from attitudes of seeking out the exotic or of seeking to profit from others. The second is interest in discovering other perspectives on interpretation of familiar and unfamiliar phenomena, both in one's own and in other cultures and cultural practices. The third is willingness to question the values and presuppositions in cultural practices and products in one's own environment. The fourth is readiness to experience the different stages of adaptation to and interaction with another culture during a period of residence. The last one is readiness to engage with the conventions and the rights of verbal and nonverbal communication and interaction. Knowledge is of social groups and their products and practices in one's own and in one's interlocutor's country, and of the general processes of societal and individual interaction. The first objective of this factor is the knowledge about historical and contemporary relationships between one's own and one's interlocutors' countries. The second is the knowledge about the means of achieving contact with interlocutors from another country at a distance or in proximity, and about the institutions which facilitate contact or help resolve problems. The third is the knowledge about the types of cause and the process of misunderstanding between interlocutors of different cultural origins. The fourth is the knowledge about the national memory of one's own country and how its events are related to and seen from the perspective of one's interlocutor's country. The fifth is the knowledge about the national memory of one's interlocutor's country and the perspective on it from one's own. The sixth is the knowledge about the national definitions of geographical space in one's own country and how these are perceived from the perspective of other countries. The seventh is the knowledge about the national definitions of geographical space in one's interlocutor's country and the perspective on them from one's own. The eighth is the knowledge about the processes and institutions of socialization in one's own and one's interlocutor's country. The ninth is the knowledge about social distinctions and their principal markers in one's own country and one's interlocutors. The 10th is the knowledge about institutions and perceptions of them, which impinge on daily life within one's own and one's interlocutor's country, and which conduct and influence relationships between them. The last is the knowledge about the processes of social interaction in one's interlocutor's country.